During my 9 months or so on this channel, I've only done 4 episode reviews, one of which not even on my channel. However, one thing has been evident from the start. I am not a jack of all trades. I've received various feedback from several people that centralizes around one statement. A vast majority of my content isn't deep enough. In fact, the reason you don't see a Bloom and Gloom review up is because of how poorly the script turned out. However, in all of my shortcomings in analysis, I've had several aspects shine through. I have a great ability to make connections and draw conclusions, and I have a pretty great understanding of MLP's characters. So here's where I'm changing things up. What I'll talk about in my episode reviews from here on out will be in the realm of characters, specifically the character or characters the episode puts the main focus on, or that I believe should be mentioned irregardless. This provides a balance between limiting what I do to maintain my quality and leaving my scripts open-ended enough to not take away what's on my mind. Without further ado, let's take a look at Tanks for the Memories. I've probably paid the least attention to Rainbow Dash in the past in terms of characterization because she's so straightforward. In fact, there have been a considerable amount of people who, after watching only the pilot, saw Rainbow Dash as their favorite character, then proceeded to change that opinion as the show progressed. Along with Fluttershy on the opposite end of the personality spectrum, these two have the most straightforward introductions to the series. Whereas Applejack hadn't really shown her sensible side, Rarity seemed like nothing more than what her occupation entails, and we hadn't seen the motivation behind Pinkie in the pilot, Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash seemingly had nothing to hide. Even in times when Rainbow was withholding information, such as when she gained an interest in reading or faked her accident in Rainbow Falls, the reason why can be boiled down to a one-sentence answer that is normally said right out in soliloquy. This episode did a far better job of hiding the big picture and giving Rainbow Dash even more depth. Yes, she'll miss Tank, and yes, she said that out loud, but it goes far deeper than that. There was one line in this song that gave us a hint, but it was subtly placed and didn't hand the answer to you on a silver platter. That line was, "I will keep you by my side so I will not be alone." Obviously, she wouldn't necessarily be alone without him, right? She's a literal representative of friendship. She's had several great friends, so how would she be alone? Well, you need to consider what Rainbow Dash's life consists of in comparison to the rest of the main 6. Her hobby is flying, her goal is to be a Wonderbolt, and her job is a weather pony. If you look at the others, Pinkie Pie throws parties for friends, Applejack is constantly surrounded by family, Rarity uses her work to interact with people, Fluttershy is surrounded by animals, and Twilight has Spike, plus activities that make company undesirable. Rainbow Dash is the only one with the potential to be social in her work, but isn't. On more than one occasion, exposure to her friends was brought up by crashing nearby to them while practicing flying alone. Considering how devoted she is to flying, I imagine that hobby of hers eats up a considerable amount of time. Her solitude in pursuing her passions is what brings out the side of her seen in the mysterious ne'er-do-well. She's not used to recognition, so one bite gets her hooked. Someone who tries to improve themselves by themselves day in and day out is bound to want to take praise and not let it go. In little ways, we see Rainbow wanting to improve her self-image for this purpose, be it hiding her love of reading in fear of being ridiculed, competing in the Iron Pony competition, or even just making sure that her dress for the gala was cool. She craves recognition in her work, but has nobody with her most of the time minus Tank. Tank's all she's got. She's not just giving up a pet for a couple months, she's giving up a partner, one that provides for her what nobody else can. Commander Firebrand and a couple others had pointed out how Rainbow Dash progressed through all 5 stages of grief in this episode, but just think about what that means. The cycle is typically seen in regards to death, be it the death of others or even yourself. The fact that she would have this adverse of a reaction to losing a pet for a few months speaks volumes about how much Rainbow values Tank and how vital Tank is in her life. She went to the point of trying to combat the changing of the seasons just to keep her tortoise during winter. If you look at the episodes in order, there is an obvious change in Rainbow Dash after getting Tank. May the Best Pet Win was episode 33 of the series, which is the episode following the 1/3 mark of the series. Prior to May the Best Pet Win, in the first third of the series, I had counted 4 episodes where Rainbow Dash had portrayed any kind of concern with self-image or self-worth. In Suited for Success, where her literal only request with her dress was that it would be cool. Fall Weather Friends, where she does the Iron Pony competition just to prove that she is superior and that she hates losing, arguably more so than most. Sonic Rainboom, where she doubted her abilities to perform the Sonic Rainboom, and The Best Night Ever, where the only reason she attended the gala was to make herself look positive in the eyes of her idols. After getting Tank for the remaining 2/3 of the series, that's twice the time span, but we only see 3 more instances of this, and each one shows a lot of improvement from the last. The first was Mysterious Ne'er-Do-Well, where she latched onto any positive reinforcement she could get. Read It and Weep was next, where she feared how reading would affect her image, and the last was Just for Sidekicks, where we see her hesitate to give Tank any public displays of affection before leaving him in Spike's care. That's 25% less frequency over twice the time frame. Having Tank there has been downright therapeutic to Rainbow Dash. Having let that go, even temporarily, could be detrimental to her self-esteem. If the writers actually decide to maintain Winter for most of the season in Ponyville and keep Tank away, I'd be interested in seeing what the long-term effects would be, whether or not Rainbow Dash still needs Tank to maintain her self-esteem. So now I ask all my viewers, how do you think Tank has influenced Rainbow Dash over the seasons? Leave your thoughts on that question, the video, or the episode as a whole in the comments below. Also, feel free to subscribe if you haven't already. Oh, and one more thing.
Number 4. Rainbow Dash has problems with the weather.
Called it.